Yo, what is up, guys? It's Freddy Knows Ball, and we're back here with a brand new video today. Let's get right into it. All right, so for inequalities, there are actually not that many things that SAT can test you on. So let's go over everything you need to know. The greater than sign is essentially saying this number is larger than this number. It is greater in value. So I always like to think of it as an alligator's mouth. The alligator always eats the bigger number, and that's how you can tell whether they are using a greater than sign or a less than sign. And you might also see a line underneath those signs. That essentially just means that it could also be equal to. So it's greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. And so I can show you guys how to make these signs on Desmos as well. I'll go ahead and throw that up on the screen because it can be pretty useful if you're trying to solve certain inequality questions. And speaking of those, let's get right into our first one. Alrighty, so for this question, we are going to use Desmos because Desmos shows this really well. So let's go ahead and look at what the question's asking. Which of the following ordered pairs satisfies the system of inequalities above? So to solve this, you could solve for what x could be greater than and what y could be less than or equal to, or vice versa. Or you could type in both of these inequalities into Desmos. So let's go ahead and do that. Y is less than or equal to 3x plus 1. X minus y is greater than 1. And so just make sure those are on two different lines. And check it out, guys. We have this beautiful graph with these different colors on it. And we're going to just go ahead and plug in the answer choices one by one to see which one actually goes into both of the colors, into where both of the colors are shaded. So A is clearly not in there. B is also not in there. C is not inside of the shaded region. And D is. So D is our correct answer because it is within both shaded regions. And so that's why this answer choice is correct. And I just feel like that goes to show how powerful Desmos is, right? It can work with equations, it can work with inequalities, it can work with variables, it can work with constants, it can work with circles, it can work with parabolas. I mean, guys, there's so much I want to show you guys. I'm so excited. But yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. But yeah, that's how you use Desmos to solve inequalities. Let's get into the next one. All right, so here we've got another word problem. Let's go ahead and read it, and then I'll explain some stuff to you guys. On a car trip, Rhett and Jessica each drove for part of the trip, and the total distance they drove was under 220 miles. Rhett drove at an average speed of 35 miles per hour, and Jessica drove at an average speed of 40 miles per hour. Which of the following inequalities represents the situation where R is the number of hours Rhett drove and J is the number of hours Jessica drove? All right. So, if you guys have heard my other videos, I love to highlight the word per because that always means there's a variable there. As far as I've seen, any word problem where you see per, a variable goes with that number. So, 35 for Rhett, so 35R, and 40 for Jessica, 40J. 35R plus 40J has to be under 220 miles, which means less than. Not less than or equal to, not greater than, but less than. If it was less than or equal to, it would say something like no more than 220 miles. That would be a less than or equal to. But we're saying under 220 miles, this is clearly less than, so we're looking for which one shows that. 35R plus 40J is less than 220. B says that perfectly, and B is our correct answer here. So hopefully that helps you guys understand the word problem part of inequalities. But yeah, besides that, guys, inequalities are pretty straightforward. You don't even need Desmos for this one, as for some of the other word problems that we'll go through. But yeah, if you guys want to see what the equation looks like, feel free to throw it into Desmos. You will have to change R and J to X and Y if you want to see a line, or you can just have R and J be sliders. But yeah, it's low-key it for inequalities. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments below, and like and subscribe, turn on notifications to help support me, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.